this on my own. It's lonely in the cold, yet even through the rain, the sun gives light to a brighter day. And as the seasons change, I'll find a way with grace to a hope that lasts forever, and put the pieces together.
Hey, welcome everybody to Linwood Community Church. This is the place that's happening all the time. So today we're going to do a video on sort of sports related, and that's because I like sports. And as my my Bible study teacher walks in and to sit down, Les, Tim, got the crew here ready to go. I'm gonna open up with the joke, because you always do that. I'm not that great at jokes, all right, but this is a baseball joke, sort of, right? Okay, an apartment building is on fire, and people are out the window screaming, like 3 floors up, 2 floors up. This guy down below yells out, jump out the window, jump out the window. I'm a baseball player. I could catch you. And one smart resident decided to get more information. So he said, wait, what team do you play for? Cincinnati Reds. Take my chances with the fire. Since I could talk about the Cincinnati Reds, I scouted with the Reds for 20 years, so I don't mind making fun of them. Hey, let me open in a word of prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the time that we can have some baseball players in our church and a chance to share some of the things in the Bible that really relate to athletics. And a lot of people don't realize it, but same qualities we see in the Bible, we should be seeing on every one of our teams. So I'd like to welcome my coach and his players, Jamie Stellino, that are watching this video today. So, amen, let's get going. And like I said, today's topic is going to be about athletics, whether it's team or individual. And I want to read a verse from Philippians. And I got it written on my paper because I don't know where my glasses are, so it's big enough for me to read. Got it today. It says, I press on towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of Jesus Christ. Well, who's speaking? To whom is he speaking? What is he speaking about? And how does this relate to athletics? Okay, who's speaking? The Apostle Paul is speaking here, and he's speaking to the people in Philippi. And he's telling them that he thanks God for everything that he remembers about them and what they remember about him. And he loves these people. It's one of the churches that Paul started. And it talks about how special Paul is to these people and how special they are to Paul. And it's amazing. You know, Paul's probably the greatest evangelist, the greatest missionary ever. And when you think about how God actually does work in people's lives, his name was Saul before he came to know the Lord, and he used to just torture Christians. I mean, he would actually be the guy that would go out and rat on all the Christians, tell them where they were so they could go and kill them, basically. And next thing you know, he does the flip. And now he's the guy that's heading up this entire ministry. So a lot of the epistles or letters that are written in the Bible were written by Paul, and he had some great things to say. And these couple of verses were great for me because I could relate to him as a coach, I could relate to him as a player, and really all I do now is I just coach people instead of baseball players. I still coach baseball players every once in a while too, man. It's in your blood. It's in your blood. But so Paul's the one doing the speaking, and he's relating it to athletics. So how does the Bible relate to athletics? In athletics, there's always a goal. There's always a prize. You guys, your prize is, your first foremost goal is is your conference championship. Your next goal would be the next level up, and then the final ultimate goal is what? What are you guys shooting for? State championship. Okay? And that's how it relates to it, because that's your goal. Paul's goal, like he says in Philippians, was the goal for the prize of the upward calling of Jesus Christ. Now, I'm not bragging, I'm just going to share, right? In 1978, I had the privilege of being assistant coach at LA Harbor College, pitching coach. And 2 years before that, we won the conference championship, and we ended up actually playing for the state championship. There's 2 teams left in the state. You're one of them. And the guy that was pitching in that game threw a 3-hitter, but we lost anyway. All right, so we took second. And nobody really brags about second place. I don't know why, but that was a great team. And that was my only loss of the season, was the state championship game. But as we go forward, we come to 1978, and now I'm coaching. I'm not playing. And we got the goal of the state championship. And Coach has been at the Final Four. He took a goal on West team. They went to the Final Four. It's different. I mean, you're there with the big boys, and all the college coaches and pro scouts are at the tournament. I mean, this is the best of the best, California, so everybody's there. But I want to cover 3 points in talking about this championship team. How we practiced, the final challenge, and what did it mean? Okay, so I always try to relate things in my life to the Bible, to Scripture, okay? Because whether you know it or not, this is, well, first, it's the most widely sold book in the history of the world. But secondly, every answer I get in my life now, I get out of here because I could find it, whether it talks about marriage, whether it talks about sports, whether it talks about your job, whether it talks about how you treat the next person, everything that you want to know. And this book was written over 1,500 years by 40 different people, and when they put it together, it fit. That's amazing. I mean, 40 different authors. So this Bible is where I get my answers. So when I started looking for this baseball one, it's not new to me, man. I spoke at conferences before on this. But it's unique because now I get to speak to some Barstool guys, which I happen to be a part of, and one of my coaches, which I will always be a part of. And so how we practiced, when I looked at Hebrews 12, 10 through 11, said our fathers, and they're talking about earthly father, our fathers disciplined us for a short time as they thought best. But God disciplines us for our good, so that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems enjoyable at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it yields a harvest of righteousness and peace to those who have been trained by it. And it's amazing how that is so true. When you get disciplined at home by your parents or whatever, sometimes it's painful. I mean, I know in my days, it was painful. In fact, you probably heard stories about teachers in junior high and high school giving swats. How many of you have heard that before? Okay, well, I used to get 1 or 2 a week, but there were times I was actually getting swats on contests that the coaches were betting, and I'd get a swat. So for them, it was more of a joke, but it didn't feel like it. But the discipline, sometimes it's painful, but it's always something that helps us. And whether you guys know it or not, I know your coach. I know what discipline is. I know what striving for a goal is. So we trusted in 1978 our head coach, and I was an assistant coach, but I trusted everything he said. The guy's a brilliant coach. He's in the American Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame, and he knows Jim O'Brien. I mean, he's a legend. I learned a lot from him. But I'm going to talk about a couple things that stuck with me my whole life. And I hope some of this stuff sticks with you guys as baseball players, because baseball is just another part of life. It's not your whole life, even though at times in my life I thought it was. It's not, man. You got family, you got friends, you got different careers. There's a lot of things that are more important. But I loved baseball. I mean, I loved playing any sport, really. I loved it. So for me, at that age, I was really focused on that. But now here I am, I'm coaching, a little older, fortunate to be able to coach with the coach that I played for. And it was difficult, but we all worked hard together. So some of the keys on that team were we worked very well together, all the coaching staff, all the players. We never quit. I mean, when I get to the final 8 in the state championship, I'll give you an example. But our practices were designed to be more difficult than a game. So when we got in a game, piece of cake. We worked hard in practice. Our catchers drills. How many catchers we got in this group? Our catchers drill. I had catchers and pitchers. I tortured them every single day. I mean, if they weren't doing, drills, blocking drills, I didn't have them throw every day, but they were in shape, tip-top shape. Infielders, the infielders had their drills. The pitchers, they may as well have gone out and run marathons, man, because I had pitchers running. And practice was unique because practice went 2 hours. You were there 15 minutes early. You were stretching. You already warmed up. You're ready for practice. So that practice was a 2-hour block. The first half of the practice, we were over on offense. The second half of the practice, we were on defense. And nobody at any time, including coaches, was allowed to stop. It was boom, 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 and it was nonstop. And our rule was we're going to beat everybody on the field and everybody off the field. Every team we play. I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing. And the bottom line is nobody took time. We had a 5-minute water break. You got 5 minutes, you get a drink of water, and you get ready for defense. So that was the discipline. There were some days we just rolled out the oxygen tanks. I don't want to give you any ideas, Coach, but there were days we didn't think the day before was that great of a practice. We rolled those tanks out, and you know what was in the mind of an athlete? Oh, man, we ain't practicing today. We're running. And that's why the oxygen tanks were there in case they fainted. I had my trainer, oxygen tanks, I had 911 in case I needed it, but that day was dedicated to, you don't have another practice like that. And so it sounds harsh, and it does, it sounds harsh. And if a parent was sitting here right now, they'd be calling their lawyer. But the bottom line is, that set us apart. And so that kind of practice is the same kind of practice I try to use in my Christian life. So you said your religion was Christ. It's not a religion, that's life. And that's what we're talking about, is practicing the Christian life. Does that mean you can't go to baseball, you can't have a good time with your friends? No, Christian life it's a lot harder than baseball ever was. It's a lot harder. Maybe not physically in this country, other countries it is, but actually mentally and spiritually it's difficult. And it's painful at times. And you don't always know why God puts you in trials. See, you guys go through stuff and it sort of rolls off your back sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't. How many of you have lost a parent? Nobody? Yeah, you lose somebody close. You're going through something. I mean, that's your family. You're going through it. A lot of instances like that. You don't fight through them if you don't have somebody to lean on. And that's reality. There's guys that snap and they never come back because they don't know where to look. They don't know where to put their trust. I'm going to read something from James, and it's very simple. It's James 1, 2 through 4. It says, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." And here's a good translation. Sometimes I use the New King James because the Old King James sometimes gets confusing because it's Old English. So New King James modernizes it a little bit, basically the same. And then I got here the same verse in the New Living Translation because that puts it down into everyday language. Now, the meaning is exactly the same, but you'll understand it better. And here's what it says. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect, complete, and needing nothing. And I used to picture practice, and in practice, the harder you work, the more trials, the more things you go through, the more you're tested, the better you're going to be. It's reality. I've seen teams and played against teams that didn't practice. I went to a high school that Jamie played for the same guy. I went to a high school where the coach, his main objective was to water the field. No assistant coaches. He'd go out, water the field, get it ready for practice. We'd come out, play catch, hit a pregame infield, take batting practice, and go home. I pitched for 3 years, never threw one bullpen. How many pitchers went through 3 years without a bullpen? Doesn't make sense, does it? So to me, that didn't, what made me a better player, the trials I went through, I had to get through some other way. I didn't have a coach to fall back on. I mean, I did a pretty good job. I mean, I wasn't a bad high school player. And, but I stop and I think about the trials I went through. And then I want to look and see where it got me. Where did it get me? Well, now we're talking about 1978. So I'm going to read another verse. We're going to call this the final challenge. So now, after winning this conference, there's 8 teams left in the state of California, a winner from each conference. And so you're going to go play at Blair Field. You've probably never been to Blair Field. It was a monster field. Blair Field's a beautiful field. That's where Long Beach State plays. I think that's their home field. And we're going to play, and we're ranked number 1 in the state. And we had an outstanding team. And we were playing San Mateo. They were ranked number 2. And I'll tell you what happens in a minute because I want to read this. 1 Corinthians, again, this is Paul. He's writing to the Corinthians. Paul 9:25. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we do it as an imperishable. All right, so that goal he's talking about, that's the medallion you get for winning the state championship, or I got my rings at home. I usually don't wear it. That's what we were fighting for, right? That's what you got. Your goal is to be the best. And our championship was nothing more than a miracle. I can't remember ever seeing 8 teams ranked from 1 to 8, and 1 playing 2 in the first day. It's usually 8 against 1, right? 7 against 2, 6 against 3, 5 against 4. Because that's what you earn the whole year. But here we are, we're playing the number 2 ranked team in the state. And we have 4 days. Day 1, we play San Mateo, and we lose. Now, I have a 6-man pitching staff. That was it. I had 3.5 starters and 2 relief pitchers. And now, because we lost the first game, we have to come back on Friday and play 3 games in a row. 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You lose, you're out. So we sweep all 3 teams. Great pitching staff. And now, I've already used, all 4 of my starters. And so now I'm calling on relief pitchers to do their job. So the next day, we have to come back, and we have to win a doubleheader. And the doubleheader, I think the first team we played was Fresno State, and they were good, or Fresno City. But then we had to beat San Mateo because they were undefeated. So we did. We beat them. So now we got to come back Sunday, and we got to, play for the state championship. And I throw my number 4 guy or number 3.5 guy. He's got a no-hitter going for 4 innings. He ends up giving up 1 hit in 7 innings. I bring my relief pitcher in, who happened to be the state player of the year for for the tournament, and he shuts the door, and we win a state championship. Nobody thought, except us, nobody thought we could come all the way back. And it was everything that we prepared for the whole season. We worked hard. We got to the point. We never thought we could lose. When we lost, we took it personal, and we went ahead and won it. And that was great. Guys wanted to celebrate. I went home, had dinner, and went to bed. Because the next morning I was recruiting. It's just the way it is. When you're a coach, it's not all about, it's about getting ready. It's about making sure you guys get a chance to get a scholarship. And he's one of the best at that. And so there was the workouts, the final challenge, and then we come to the biggest question, because as Christians, our goal, again, is the imperishable wreath, not the ring, not the medallion. That's great, still hanging on the wall. And I really don't let people into my bedroom for the main reason that it's got all my stuff in there. I don't like talking about things I did. That's past. They're just great memories, though, right? And those memories help you develop the future. So when it's all over, what does it really mean? Because it's going to end. Man, we're human. Everything we do is finite. We're not infinite, right? We're finite, man. Everything we do. And when it's all over, what does it mean? 2 Timothy 4:7-8 says, I have fought the good fight. See, I could say that because I'm actually done. I'll never be a head, I shouldn't say never, but I'll never be a head baseball coach. I've already done that. I did the best I could do with what I had. As a player, I've already played. I probably couldn't comb my hair if I tried to throw tomorrow. But I did the best that I could do. I can honestly say I used to go home and put my head on the pillow and say, hey, I'm good. I lost the state championship game. That was my only loss, and it was pitched a great game. I couldn't do any better. We lost. I went home. I slept good. I hated it the next morning, but I slept good. And I think those are the things you have to do. You got to fight the good fight. I'm talking about baseball as well as life. I finished the race. Everything you do, you got to finish, you guys. Don't take shortcuts. You know what? You want to be a great team? There are no shortcuts. And I have kept the faith. Now, I never once ever prayed to God to help me win. I don't think that's fair. But what he does tell you is right here, man. Take the discipline. Fight the good fight. Do the best you could do. You don't pray to God to say, hey, we want to win this game, man. Because there's somebody on the other side, you know what they're doing? They're praying. So now what? It's a coin flip? What's God going to do? He's not going to help you win a game. The only people that can help you win a game are your teammates, the guys behind you. And you work hard for it. Does the best team always win? No. Sometimes there's breaks, right? But that's sports. And that's the way you have to look at it. If you give it everything you got, you listen to your coach, you work hard, and you know what? You shouldn't work hard for him. He's working hard for you. I already know that. I mean, I already know they offered him a job. After he took this job, his high school called him up and offered him the head coaching job at his old high school. And you know what he told me? He says, I already made a commitment to my guys. He hadn't even really had you on the field yet. But he made a commitment. And that's why I know he's committed to this program. I know he's committed to you guys. But you guys need to be committed to each other. You know, somebody made a comment coming in, oh yeah, we love each other. We want to be around each other. You should love each other. You know, you guys are like, and I like to use this analogy, you're like a SEALs team. I mean, their life's in each other's hands, man. I mean, it's that simple. But you guys are playing a game, but the premise is the same. It's a team game. One of the greatest moments of my baseball history had nothing to do with me winning my awards or winning games. It had to do with one call I made against Cerritos College when I was playing at Harvard College. I didn't start that game. But I was so involved in that game. I was picking off pitches. I was reading the pitcher's hands when he was throwing a curveball, fastball, and we're relaying them to the plate. Cerritos was the number 1 team. They'd already won 6 state championships. And we were the number 8 team that year. We were, the lowest ranked team, so we got to play number 1. And I remember reading a curveball, and half the guys read fastball, but I yelled louder than they did. And I knew it was a curveball. The kid sat back, hit a grand slam, and Cerritos went home early. I mean, we buried him. To me, because that was just a part of a team, right? I didn't do nothing to win that game physically. But because I didn't hang my head, I didn't sit on the bench and say, oh, man, I'm not playing. And, I'm talking about what we're going to eat after the game. He could tell you that story. When I was coaching, you were talking about food during that game. That food was coming up after the game, that's for sure. So the bottom line is you guys love each other. It's a team. And the same thing God asks us, man. Love each other. There's no hate. I mean, there's plenty of hate in the world, but you get together and you can't imagine how awesome you guys are going to be if you actually believe in each other. And when one guy makes a mistake and kicks the ball, pat him on the back, say, hey, man, let's get him next time. That's baseball. Making a bonehead running play and something that you should not have done isn't physical, it's mental. That's different. But, man, you strike out, you kick the ball, you drop a fly ball, it's baseball. It happens. It happens every day. It happens every game. So here we are, fighting the good fight. What are we doing it for? We're doing it for an unperishable wreath. That means a crown of righteousness when we get to heaven. So it's amazing, and you got a reward that's tangible. You got it here, and hey man, that ring looks cool when you first put it on. You wear it a little bit. People ask you a little bit. Then I stick it in my drawer. It's a ring. And I don't even have my wedding ring on. I haven't worn it in 25 years because I almost took my finger off, so I don't like wearing rings anyway. But the bottom line is that is a symbol of what you did, but what you did was the most important thing. What you do with your life. Guys, some of you have probably never thought about what God does in your life, but you won't because you take it for granted. I mean, I know I was your age one time, a long time ago, and there's things I thought I was Superman at times. Nothing could hurt me, and I'm 70 now. Guess what? I was wrong. I mean, I've still got surgeries coming up from sports, doing a couple of dumb things, but as you grow and listen to people when they talk to you, listen to it, really listen to it. If a coach wants to give you some advice, listen to it, try it. You might not like it, but try it, because most coaches at your level, they know what they're talking about. So I'd never go sit down with Jamie and tell him how to run his team. I'd sit down with Jamie and listen, see how he's doing it, because you could never stop learning. It's life. You never stop learning. You stop learning, guess what? That's because you're 6 feet under. That's when you stop. And so when your parents talk to you and on just a guy that wants to share something, listen, try it, see what it's all about. So how could you get this imperishable wreath? So in Ephesians 2:8-9, again, here's Paul. This guy's name is all over the New Testament. And he traveled all over the world at that time. It says, for by grace you've been saved through faith, that not of yourselves. It's a gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. You can't earn it. You can't go knock on doors and build up a point system and at the end say, I got all these points, God, can you let me into heaven? It doesn't work that way, man. Because that's easy. I mean, knocking on doors, it's easy. But some of the things that we're asked to do, again, trials, it's not easy. How do you find joy in some of the worst things that ever happened in your life? There's times in my life where I've been close to dying a couple times, and it's a weird experience. I can tell you that right now. I mean, I actually saw a white door and white faces. I was going to open the door, and I woke up. And I woke up in another town in another hospital. Nobody thought I was going to live. I didn't even know. I was out of it, man. So I asked that question when I was done. God, why me? Why wasn't I just dead? And it's easy now because I could look back and say He had other things planned for me. Man, after that, my life changed completely, and there were other things that now became more important. But it took almost dying for that to happen. And so that's why I can speak to people and say, listen, we're all humans, man. I mean, in a blink of an eye, somebody could hit you in a car. I mean, my daughter's in the ER right now. She's been there for 2 days. And if she goes sepsis, it's going to be a long haul. She had to go back today. And she's battling a couple infections, and they just figured out what it was. So she's there, and I'm here, and there's a reason I'm here, and there's a reason she's there. I don't know it yet. Well, I know why I'm here, but I don't know why she has to go through that. So when we talk about for grace, you have been saved. It's a gift. It's like at Christmas time. How many of you guys remember getting presents from your dad and your uncles and stuff? It's right. It's cool. How many of you gave them back before you opened them? I bet you nobody, right? I know I never did. Somebody gives you a gift, you take it. And that's what we're talking about. This is a gift. I mean, the gift is, you know what? I think I need to learn a little bit more about Jesus and how he can take over my life. Is he going to make me a better baseball player? No. I'll be honest with you, man. If any preacher ever tells you they're going to make you a better baseball player, no. You're going to make yourself a better baseball player. That's it. And with the help of your coach, you'll be a better baseball player. God doesn't make you a better baseball player. I don't have idols either. I don't have like guys that I worship the ground they walk on, you know. But I got a lot of respect for Tim Tebow. Talk about trials. You guys, he was in the NFL. He took and beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs. So what they did to him, because he always had John 3:16 on his eyes, and because he wasn't afraid to share his faith, he was out of football the next year. He loved playing sports, guys. That guy was a beast in high school and a beast in college. He loved playing sports, whether it was baseball, football. But that wasn't his biggest thing, man. His biggest thing is, you know what, I'm going to share my faith. And it cost him. I'm going to tell you what, it cost him. And even today, he does it. And he never regretted a minute of it. So when you say, does God help me be better? There's times when that answer is no. It might be the opposite. You know, but you never know. You never know until you try to find out. So this trophy, this prize, this imperishable wreath lasts for eternity. My ring and my medallion, I don't know how long they're going to last. Maybe when I die, my kid will take them or whatever. Or they'll just go in the trash. All my trophies I got when I was in Little League and Pony League, I used to shoot them with my BB gun. They're gone, man. I mean, they didn't mean as much after. Only at the time when I earned them. But this is something that lasts forever. So all you have to do is accept that gift, the gift of salvation that was given to us at the death of Jesus Christ on the cross. And I could sit here and talk about the cross, but I'll never understand it. I'll never understand what that kind of pain is, man. You know, you ask him to forgive you of your sin. He said, no, I'm a good guy, man. I don't sin. I never sin, man. I sin all the time. And there's an innate sin. We're human beings, man. It's just the way it is. Whether it's, you know, did you ever cheat on a test? Be honest. Raise your hand, because I'm going to raise my hand. I was a pro at it. All right. You ever cheat on a test? Okay. Did you ever get drunk and you're under 20? How many of you are under 21? Raise your hand. Did you ever get drunk? Did you ever? Okay. Your center. Les, let me talk to Les here. Les, when you were underage, did you ever get drunk? No. What did you ever do that was wrong, Les, when you were a kid? Okay, guess what? There's a sin, right? Kim? These three guys right here, we're elders and we're the guys in this church. We're the guys that and people look at us. I'm going to tell you what, there is nobody perfect, and there never was, there never will be. So when I talk to you about Jesus Christ, he didn't pick perfect people because there wasn't any, just him. And so we do make these mistakes all the time. I'm not telling you to go cheat because Lefty said, hey man, everybody cheats. I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm going to tell you that there's never been anybody, the greatest kings, David, the man after God's own heart, cheated on his wife, had the wife's husband killed in battle. Samson, the strongest man, God used him to do these things. That guy visited more whorehouses than anybody ever, and it says it right in the Bible. Never has there been anybody perfect, but God uses them. When he picked his disciples, verse 12, they were fishermen and tax collectors. It's not perfect people, man. It's not what it's about. And so I just want to let you know this. Believe, accept Jesus Christ. It's a personal thing. It's not about the team now. Remember I said it's going to be individual and team? It's not about the team. This is actually just about you. Your coach take care of the team, man. But this is about you. And I hate to say it this way. It sounds really crude or rude or maybe, but I'm not going to heaven with my wife and my daughter and my son because we're a family. I pray that we all do, and I know where they are spiritually. But I've had relatives, I know they're not up there, man. My father, the only thing my father, he left when I was 5, but I saw him all the time. And the only religious thing he ever said to me is when I left coaching and went into the ministry at one time, he says, hey man, now you're a coach for Christ. That's as religious as my dad got. When we ate, his prayer was, all right, I'll pray. Father, Son, Holy Ghost, whoever eats the fastest eats the most. That was it. And so, I don't know. I mean, that's not for me to judge. I don't know. I don't know people's hearts. Only one person knows people's hearts. All I know is he's the creator of the universe. He's the head coach of eternity. And so those are the things that I wanted to press on you guys today. I wanted to tell you that baseball is a great game. You're thinking, well, hey, this guy's just a preacher up here. I'm not just a preacher. I'm doing this because I want to serve the Lord in my life. I want to make sure I tell people there is something you can add to your life, not take away. I'm not here to take away baseball. I'm not here to take away anything. I'm going to support that guy till the day I die. He's part of me. And that's what baseball brings to you. That's what sports brings, that closeness. I'm part of their life. They're like my brothers. That guy will do anything for you. He doesn't even know you. Same with him. Because that's what not just this church is. I talk about the universal church because there are other churches, thousands of other churches where people believe the same thing that I believe. Well, it doesn't matter what religion they are. I don't talk religion. It's about the universal church, Christ. That's it. And so when you stop and say, hey, coach, and you can call me coach, you can call me whatever you want, but, when you want to talk about the most important thing in my life, it's being able to share this with people who thought the only thing I could talk about was baseball. I could still talk about baseball. But to me, there's things that are more important. So I want to offer you guys the opportunity. We're here every Sunday, 10:45. We start late so people can sleep in sometimes. If you have a DVR, just videotape the games. That's what I do. I go home and watch them in the afternoon. But hey, we're open for you guys. Our services are so simple. They're not. It's just about being together with people that believe in the same thing and enjoy their fellowship with them. And so I know that when we were at Mendocino College, away from everything, my first couple years there, I had guys in Bible studies and stuff during the week. They wanted to come to a Bible study. That was great. And drew closer as a team, and we turned the program around. So, you're invited every Sunday to come here, and I want to do some things with your coach, and feed you guys before a home game, and especially big games. And I want to do the same thing for the softball team as soon as I meet that person, because I think that's what a community church does. You guys don't live here. There's no place for you to go home, right? You can't fly home. So the bottom line is, you know what? Just treat this as your second home. You guys are welcome here all the time. There's plenty of times we have food and stuff, and you're welcome to all that stuff. You don't pay any money to come here, or you're not going to have anybody preaching down on you. It's about as preachy as I just did right now. So, and I would stop in the next minute, and I'll talk baseball, talk football. I won't talk politics with anybody. But bottom line is, we'll always be here for you guys. And so I got to end it right now, and let's close in prayer. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for a time where we could just share some things and offer up whatever people need, and just be a support system here for these young men, and help us to be involved enough to go watch them play and support them, and just enjoy having them in our lives. We ask in your name. So I got.
My heart is deafening, but I'm still listening. In the silence after the storm, your voice will bring me